Hello everybody, it's Mr. Mulvihill here with a little math video. I think people are kind of having a little tough time with exponents. It's totally understandable, it's something new. So what I wanted to do today was just give you guys another fresh day of practice if you're struggling with the assignments. All the questions we do here are the questions on the assignment. So watch this video if you're struggling. If you think you got it, you can still watch this for extra practice. So here we go. There's two big things that you have to do in this unit. The first is evaluate exponents. If you evaluate, that means you find the number answer. That's like what your calculator does. So let's look at how we evaluate exponents. Number one, it says exponents have and always will mean repeated multiplication. So for instance, if you have something like 2 to the third power, what that tells us to do is multiply the base, which is 2, by itself 3 times. Because of the 3 right there. We got 1, 2, 3. And when you multiply 2 by itself 3 times, you'll get 2 times 2, which is 4, and then times another 2, which is 8. So that's evaluating. Pause the video and try number 1 and 2. Alright, so for number 1, you're going to multiply 2 by itself 4 times. And that means 2 times 2 is 4, times another 2, times another 2. That'll give you 8 times 2, and that's going to be 16. Number 2, if you're evaluating, you're finding the answer. So your calculator can do it, or you can do it by yourself here, 4 squared. That means we're going to do 4 times 4, which is 16. Bring down this multiplication symbol, so times whatever 10 times 10 is, because that's what that means, 10 times 10. And 10 times 10 is 100. So 16 times 100 to get your final step. Doing order of operations, you should get 1,600. Oops. And that's how you evaluate exponents. Now, the second important thing that we have to do in this unit is simplify exponents. Simplifying exponents means you don't use your calculator. You have an exponent in your answer. Some people are just evaluating all these questions. No, you have to simplify. It tells you simplify. And we'll do some questions in a second, but there's 4 important rules that you have to know on how to simplify exponents. The first one is the zero exponent rule. And that says if you have any number, like say 7, to the 0 power, that's just going to equal 1. That's all you got to know. 7 to the 0 power is 1. All right. The negative exponent rule says if you have something like 3 to the negative 4, to change that to have a positive exponent, what you're going to do is you're going to bring this whole part down to the bottom of the fraction. Except now, 1 second, the exponent is positive. It switches its sign, and that's going to be over 1. That's the negative exponent rule. The product rule says something like if you have 6 to the, say, 3rd times 6 to the 7th power, the product rule says you can add up the exponents. And you're only allowed to add up the exponents because we have the same base here. We're both multiplying by 6's. So what we can do is just say 6 to the 3rd times 6 to the 7th is really just 6 to the 10th. We aren't using our calculator. We are having an exponent in your answer. Now, number 1 was an exception, but that's still a rule to keep in mind. All right, the third one is, the fourth one, the last one we need to know is say if you have something like 8 to the 5th over 8 squared, 8 to the 2nd power. What you're going to do there is you're going to subtract exponents, the last simplifying rule that you need to know. So you'll get 8 to the 3rd. All right. So those are 4 simplifying rules. Notice we have exponents in these answers. We're not evaluating. All right, so I want you guys to keep those rules in mind. I want you to try A, B, C, and D here. And your directions are simplify, so you're not getting an answer, the following expressions that have only one positive exponent. So pause the video, use one of those 4 rules from above, and when you're ready, try it out. And this dude sprouting a flower is there to welcome spring and cheer you on. You're doing great. All right, so this one you should get 7 to the 8th power using the product rule. This one you should get 9 to the 3rd power because 5 minus 2 equals 3. 8 to the 0, well, anything to the 0 power is 1. And 5 to the negative 2, that's the negative exponent rule. So you're going to switch where it is and make the exponent a positive. So if you got those, that's great. You know how to simplify using our exponent rules. Now, you're going to take these 4 rules and you're going to do more than one at once in the mixed practice. So you're going to simplify the following expressions that have only one positive exponent. I'm going to do 3 of these with you, and then you guys can try the other ones and see if you get it. So we're going to use more than one rule here. It looks like in this question, we're multiplying a bunch of things, and they all had that same base of 6. 6 to the 3rd times 6 squared times 6 to the 5th value. So if we add up these exponents here, 3 plus 2 plus 5 will give you 10. That's our simplified version. We don't have to go to our calculator and find what 6 to the 10th power is. That's it. We're just simplifying. 4 to the 3rd over 4 to the 5th. We can use our negative exponent rule. So 3 minus 5, be careful. It's 3 minus 5. It's the top, the 3 minus the bottom, the 5. So 3 minus 5 is actually going to give us negative 2. And we have to use another rule because we don't have a positive exponent. We're going to use the negative exponent rule. And if you remember from D right there, how we do that is we're just going to bring the 4 squared to the bottom, and the 2 exponent is now positive. All right, last one here. If I'm noticing this one, we have a bunch of stuff going on. So take a look at that. Think about what you would do. I mean, basically, if this wasn't there, just do the product rule. Now it is there, so I'm going to bring it back, but that's really just 5 to the 5th up top all over 5 to the 4th, which equals, now we're going to have to do the quotient rule, so subtract the exponents. 5 minus 4 is 5 to the 1, and that's your answer. Maybe you also saw that that equals 5, because anything to the 1 is itself, but there you go. All right, so try these questions here. There are a couple challenge ones. Use those rules from above and give it your best shot. You're going to simplify so to have only one positive exponent. Resume the video when you're ready. Okay, so this one here, we're going to add up the exponents. So 4 plus negative 7 using the product rule will give us 3 to the negative 3. But then we're going to have to use the negative exponent rule. So that's going to be 1 over 3 cubed to get a positive exponent. This one, we'll do 7 minus 9, so that's 5 to the negative 2. Not a positive exponent, so we'll bring it down to the bottom. We'll get 5 squared. This one, we got the product rule and the quotient rule. So first step, we'll do the product rule up top. 6 to the 10th over 6 to the 3rd power. And then we'll use the quotient rule to subtract the exponents and get 6 to the 7th. For number 4, we have x's. We're not sure what they are, but we notice that we're still doing the same base, so we can still apply the rule, which means just write the base and add the exponents. 4 plus 6 is 10. X to the 10th. We're not evaluating. We're having exponents in our answer. All right, number 5 here. I guess I need to learn how to do 5s again. We'll do the product rule. We'll get 11 to the 7th all over 11. Now the only thing is here we're going to use the quotient rule, but we have to keep in mind that if there's not a 1 for the exponent, it's implied that there's a 1. So now you can do the quotient rule, subtract exponents, get 11 to the 6th. Number 6 is a little tricky here. You're going to subtract 5 minus 8. When I get negatives, I almost like to do that in a separate sheet of my paper to see what I get. So it's 5 minus this part. You still have to have 5 minus. There's a double negative. You're subtracting the exponent. You're subtracting away negative 8. So that's going to give you 13. So you'll get 5 to the 13th as your final answer, using the quotient rule. Now the challenge ones, you should be getting 7 to the negative 1, which will equal 1 over 7 to the 1, which will equal 1 over 7. And then for number 2, there's really a 1 right there. You should be getting 5 to the 4th. All right, so that's the work for today. I hope that helped you can do the assignment. If you have any more questions, feel free to email me, or you can get a group of friends. Go whatever you got to do. We can do Google Meet, and I'd be happy to see you and happy to help you out. All right, have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.